This is Dolynny TV. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to yet another live stream here as we get set for tonight's pivotal matchup against the Ottawa Senators. Obviously, 4 of our next 5 games apparently against the Ottawa Senators here, and we need to get some ground made up and the job done tonight against a struggling Ottawa Senators team. So with that said, welcome into tonight's pregame preview live stream. Not going to live stream the entire game. Just going to sit here and talk to you pregame for about the next 30 minutes or so and try and get things underway and get the excitement up, as I just want to get out there and get in front of it because it is going to be absolutely a gong show, I think, for the Oilers tonight in terms of how certain fans take things, how things transpire, and how things pan out here for our Edmonton Oilers this evening. What do I mean by that? Stuart Skinner is starting tonight. Stuart Skinner is going to be our starter. He's going to make his first NHL start by all clear indications. Oilers Twitter, media, everybody was having the best of time with trolling things today with the goaltending starting situation, and now we find ourselves with Stuart Skinner getting ready to start tonight's hockey game for the Edmonton Oilers at long last. It's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the Edmonton Oilers feature this evening in front of a rookie goaltender for the first time in a long time. What we've been told is it has been a long time coming since the Oilers last had a goaltender drafted and developed by the Oilers system end up winning a game. I think it dates back all the way to about March 2010. Yeah, it's been about that long since the Oilers went out there and got themselves a goaltender to start games, win games, and play games from the system. Now that goaltender, Devan Dubnyk. So tonight, what I'd like to say is, please, ladies and gentlemen, if you absolutely can, please go easy on Stuart Skinner no matter what. It is much needed for Stuart Skinner to just get in there and play a game. I don't care if it's a win or a loss, right? Obviously, us as Oilers fans, we need the win. I understand that. We need it. But everybody's been calling for Stuart Skinner to start a game. Everybody's wanted Stuart Skinner in a hockey game for the Oilers for about 5 games now. If you're going to blame the loss on Stuart Skinner, you should never have even said you wanted Skinner to start a game. Okay, that's what I'm going to say, is just keep yourself in check tonight, as the Oilers are starting a rookie netminder, and it's going to be an interesting one to see how it all pans out. And I'd like to hopefully see Stuart Skinner play a good game, but if he doesn't play a good game, I'd like to see him at least get the benefit of the doubt here from us Oilers fans, saying, you know what, it is his first starting game, so let's go easy on him and see where he is after maybe a game or two at the NHL level, as opposed to things at the as opposed to things at the AHL level like he is. Matt, welcome in. Sorry guys, I'm not sure what's going on with the chat here. Normally the chat's ablaze, but it looks like it's just barely crawling in here for me right now. But that is not the only storyline for the Edmonton Oilers this evening. The other storyline you may not be familiar with is the fact that Gaetan Haas looks like he is about set to play his first game of the season for our Edmonton Oilers. That is a massive one for sure because, well, let me tell you, it's going to see what he can pan out to do for us in what's going to be a big one tonight against the Ottawa Senators, his debut for this season. And secondarily to that, we're still not sure if Ethan Bear will be playing this evening or not, which means, do we know for sure if Evan Bouchard is starting? We're not at all. We don't know what's going on there. Dave Tippett has not spoke to the media yet today, as far as I understand, so it'll be interesting to see what happens, and make that 64 goaltenders used in the NHL so far through 19 days as Stuart Skinner starts tonight for the Oilers. That from John Shannon tonight against Matt Murray for the Ottawa Senators. So, yes, Stuart Skinner is confirmed to be starting. And now we look to see what he can bring for us. So, yeah, the interesting part too is the defense situation. Looks to be a little bit shady as well. It looks like we'll be going with 4 left-hand D tonight against the Ottawa Senators. We're not sure what's going on there. I believe Evan Bouchard like you guys are saying, is still injured. And then, yes, of course, Ethan Bear was injured the other night. So we'll see what the Oilers end up bringing in to the lineup tonight, whether it be Chris Russell, whether it be William Lagesson, whoever may draw in for the Oilers tonight has a tough task in front of them to defend a rookie goaltender that we need to keep in check, essentially by keeping in check. Just don't allow him any clear shots from the slot. Just make sure you clamp down on any high-risky ventures in front of Mr. Stuart Skinner this evening, because we cannot afford to lose this one by hanging out to dry a rookie goaltender in his first NHL game. He's had some NHL games, but keep in mind, Stuart Skinner has not played since March 2020. Yes, he's been in the bubble. Yes, he's been with the Oilers all this time. But the problem is, you know what, as we currently face it, he is going to make his NHL debut in front of us tonight, 7 p.m. on the Mountain Start, and hopefully deliver a performance that's worth something for the Oilers in the points column. And here's the thing, right, is think about how incredible it would be if an Edmonton Oilers goaltender went out there, drafted, developed by the Oilers, and won us a hockey game in his NHL debut. Now, right, I'm saying the defense, the forwards, they're going to have to be more accountable for what's going to get done in terms of the result tonight. But Stuart Skinner, you know what? This is an opportunity. You're looking for the big stage. Skinner's got it tonight, and I hope he goes out there and excels with it. The other thing, like I said, just don't crap on him if he doesn't, because the facts are what they are, and you can't argue that Stuart Skinner should not at all be prepared for this. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the channel right now and you're tuning in, and you're like, who's this guy ranting about the Oilers? I do this every day, quite often, multiple times a day. So you might want to consider, if you're an Oilers fan who likes unhinged Oilers fans like yourself, consider hitting that subscribe button, and let's stay together for the post game, that's for sure. Now, prediction in the next 5 games, Ryder. I don't need a prediction because I curse it every time. You know what? I'm tired of sitting here predicting it and then getting blamed for it. So I'm just gonna sidestep that one. That's all I'm gonna say. Nurse, Russell, Jones, Larson, and Cuckoo. 4K Barry. Who's 4K Barry? I don't know who that is. But yeah, no, bench Barry, guys. Tyson Barry had a fantastic game to end last night. Fantastic effort. Gets an assist on the OT winner. Gets an assist in the power play. Tyson Barry last night, after 10 games, finally figured it out for the Edmonton Oilers. If we get that Tyson Barry the rest of the season, my goodness, we are cruising. I don't care how much you want to hate on that assist on the Connor McDavid end-to-end rush. That is as important of an assist as any for the Edmonton Oilers, and it counts all the same no matter what Mr. Connor McDavid did for it. So the thing is, as we get going into this game tonight, is, you know what, we can sit here bench. Why not ask them to just play better? Right? Is we can talk about benching guys. No, hold them accountable. Let's get them going, because clearly, you know what, benching guys hasn't worked for, I don't know, a Jujar Carey, Joachim Nygard, right? Nothing works like that. So let's go hopefully get performances out of our guys, raise our guys up, because tonight we're going to need performances out of our guys if Stuart Skinner is going to win tonight's hockey game. I will tell you that for sure. Right now, still waiting for official word on who is in, who is out. But as far as we know, the only thing we know is Stuart Skinner starting tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, making his NHL debut. He sat on the bench for several games now, and now is the time for Stuart Skinner to get in. And MH, you're talking about Gaetan Haas getting back into the lineup. Well, guess what? Gaetan Haas is in the lineup tonight, as far as we understand this evening as well. So there's a couple of shuffles tonight. I believe Devon Shore and Tyler Ennis are back to the taxi squad. Stuart Skinner starts, and my goodness, we are in for what is going to be an excellent adventure tonight. If you're excited for this one, maybe do me a favor and hit that like button, and let's get a whole bunch of people in here before the game, and then I will tune out and I'll go eat supper, watch the hockey game, and we'll enjoy a couple of intermission updates, and then we'll go out there and enjoy the post game hopefully as well. Thankfully, a 7 p.m. start on a Sunday as opposed to an 8 p.m. start, so I can actually get a post game up and get a good amount of sleep this evening. So Stuart Skinner, is he decent? Well, he's a streaky kind of goaltender down there at the HL level. That is also to say that the Bakersfield Condors, in his time with the Condors, have not been an elite team. So we'll see what Stuart Skinner features as the number one starter tonight. Now, here it is. Playing well after an emotional win has not been the Oilers. Carva, sorry, reading your comment. I expect Ottawa to come out strong. That's fine. You know what? Ottawa can come out strong. But if at this point of the season the Oilers don't understand how the schedule works, that's where the bigger problems lie, right? That's where you can say, well, that's on Dave Tippett. That's on that, right? Is you got to understand how this schedule works. You're 10 games deep into it, and it is time to understand how it works, right? And you think we came off an emotional game against Vancouver opening night and delivered a good performance the next night against Vancouver to even up the series one apiece and our record one apiece moving into those Montreal games. So the back half of the back-to-back still favor us, and this is where the usual sighting is we don't go out there and win the number one every time, but now we've done it, so let's get to really start changing the narrative and getting the job done. That's all I'm looking for at this point, is to try and see what we can bring in terms of a narrative and what we can build in terms of a winning streak moving forward here. Ottawa, right? You know what? Ottawa's not going to lose every game. We know that. We know that much, and I'm not saying they are. But tonight against the Oilers, that's no excuse to lose a game if you're the Oilers, right? You can't just, oh, well, you guys are on a 7-game losing streak. Here's a win. Make you feel better. The Oilers have historically been that team that does that. So tonight, let's not be that team. Let's not do that. Let's go out there and win a hockey game, and rather convincingly as well, right? Last night, everybody was sitting there, oh, the Leafs are going to blow out the Oilers. It's going to be embarrassing, blah, 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 blah. And the Oilers win in overtime 4-3. Don't also knock the fact that the Oilers have played 1-goal games against the Leafs pretty much all season long so far. Is this Leafs-Oilers matchup is continuing to just be very intriguing as we go along now through pretty much half the games on the way home to 9 games this season against them. And that's the thing, exactly. Beat the teams you're supposed to beat, Nathan, and that's where the Oilers have been guilty for years, is not doing that. Last year, against a Detroit, a Columbus, some of those kind of teams. Last year, I believe there was a little streak where we had to do it and we got one done, but not the other kind of deal. So it is now time to do it. Turn in the big 24 tomorrow, Obadiah. Well, we won't talk to you tomorrow, but happy birthday. Hope you have a great night tonight and then go into a great day tomorrow. 24, man. The years start coming and they don't stop coming, to quote a famous line, that's for sure. So here's what we got to go and do is, you know what, reverse the trend, reverse everything, and just write a new narrative. That is the key tonight, is just go write a new narrative. I'm sick of the same old story. So tonight for the Oilers, starting a first-time NHL goalie, getting Gaetan Haas back in the lineup, right? We've been crying for him. We now have 2 right-hand shot centermen, hopefully in the lineup this evening. Let's write a new narrative. It's a new chapter in the Edmonton Oilers history, right? We have played 10 games this season. Everybody thinks they know who the Oilers are, but yet are to see the Oilers play with Gaetan Haas in the lineup. That is the Oilers' 4th-line centerman. That man is the Oilers' 4th-line centerman. So you cannot tell me we have seen the actual Oilers until Gaetan Haas plays tonight for our Edmonton Oilers. So that's one thing as well, right? We didn't know who the Oilers were because we hadn't seen James Neal yet. And now we get to see Gaetan Haas out of the lineup and now back in the lineup. So hopefully, my friends, we are about to get things underway for real. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say what we have to do or not to do. It's just time to write a new narrative. That's as plain Jane, as simple, as not dressed up as I can say it. I don't want to say this or that because then everybody's out here clowning me around post-game if the Oilers do the opposite of what I say. And I'm tired of that, all right? I'm tired of being the guy that gets beat on for the Oilers losing games. It's not my fault, I tell you that much. I've been telling you that for 3 weeks now. So, with that, let's just go write a new narrative, right? I don't care what it is. We have a new chapter in Oilers history as finally a drafted, developed goalie for the first time in 11 years will make a start for the Edmonton Oilers and make his NHL debut while doing it. So that is fantastic for us. Robert, welcome in. And everybody else, welcome in. Sorry, I just saw Robert's name pop up first, but welcome in, everybody. I haven't said that yet, but we are kind of cruising through this live stream. A total of 62 people currently tuning in. My goodness, okay. Did not expect everybody to come to the pregame show that much, but I thought I better live stream the pregame show just because I don't have time to get a pregame up, right? It was 6 o'clock when I started firing up the stream, so it would have been about 6:50 when the pregame came up. So I figured, you know what, let's get the pregame stream up. I know a couple other guys have been doing it, so we get to watch it tonight here on Dolynny TV. Why not? So, as we get set for tonight's hockey game, like I said, if you're just tuning in, Stuart Skinner gets the start. Gaetan Haas draws in. We're waiting word if Bouchard's going to play. As far as we know, he's not. And Ethan Bear is a game time maybe at best. So we're going to find out what's going on with Mr. Stuart Skinner this evening in his first NHL game. We're going to see what Gaetan Haas features back in the Oilers lineup. You're going to see what potentially the defenseman that draws in is going to bring to the Oilers. So I'm excited to see kind of the storylines as the Oilers now make the turn into the next 10 games. Game number 11 this evening against the Ottawa Senators in what needs to be a win, but in what is, like you guys have said, going to be a trap game for the Oilers potentially. So don't let it be. Write a new narrative and let's go have some fun with a new netminder, our shiny prize netminder, might I say. Remember, when we picked Stuart Skinner, there was a lot of hype that the Oilers have drafted a goaltender worth his weight in the NHL prospect rankings and potentially maybe that future starter. I know I was excited about it, so I'm hoping you are as well. So what's for dinner this evening? A little bit of beef barley soup and roast beef sandwiches on the side. And you aren't kidding yourself if I paid $1 a bun for homemade, fresh, from the kitchen of a nice old lady. Some buns. Oh yeah, homemade buns. And they are dandy. They are 2 days old and they are sterile. You could squish them just like this right down to nothing. They are fantastic. All right. So, my friends, let's go see what we end up seeing tonight for the Oilers. That's all I got to say on that file. It is 6:30. Ethan Bear is not on the ice for warm-up. That, according to Bob Stauffer, breaking as of 22 seconds ago. Ethan Bear will not suit up for the Edmonton Oilers this evening. And then Stuart Skinner leads the Oilers out, turned 22 in November, makes his NHL debut in goal tonight. And for this as well, when is the last time the Oilers had a hometown kid start his NHL career in the crease for the Edmonton Oilers? If anyone's got that answer, I don't even know if that answer exists. But this is a big-time turn of events as Stuart Skinner gets his NHL debut under his belt after 10 games of Mikko Koskinen in what everyone thought was going to be a straight-up disaster and ends up only being a 4-6 record. The Oilers are ready to come out with a new goaltender for the first time this season. And if you don't know how exciting that's going to be, I don't know what to tell you. So, yeah, guys, absolutely. The dinner, I mean, it was a clutch up this evening. For sure. The roast beef is from last night. That's what I crushed while watching last night's hockey game. So it's leftovers tonight. But come on, you kidding me? Roast beef's always better the next day, especially when you're doing roast beef sandwiches. So I think I'm going to chef her up a little bit of Monterey Jack cheese, a little bit of barbecue sauce, a little bit of roast beef, and some beef barley soup to dip it in as well. I think we're going to have a little fancy meal here tonight to go out there and clutch up, hopefully, a new narrative. That's my new fancy term. I was talking with Ty on the Oil Nation podcast there the other day, and I know he was talking about terms you get sick of and stuff, but you know what? I'm sorry. The new term you should get sick of, especially if the Oilers get it done tonight, is going to be the new narrative, and that is going to be excellent to see. So, Stewie, as the Bakersfield Condors call him, Stuart Skinner on becoming the 13th Condor to make his NHL debut and the 9th in the last 3 seasons for the Edmonton Oilers. Stuart Skinner, Bakersfield, stand up. You've done yourself proud. He is ready to go, and he will go tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. So, Hero, you're talking about Rogers Place roast beef sandwiches. Well, if you ever get a chance, And I mean, yeah, you're never sure what you're going to get in that Sportsnet lounge. But if you ever sit there and think, you know what, I should save up and go to an Oilers game. And I mean, obviously, tickets are expensive if you want to sit in the good seats. But if you have that little extra money kicking around, save it for another month or two. All right? The next time we're allowed in the building, save it for a month or two and go to the Sportsnet lounge. You will not regret your decision. That place is phenomenal at Rogers Place, and everything's handmade. It is good to go. Randy Grant Fear, that is what I was thinking as well when it came to the Oilers, is I think that would be the only other instance of an NHL goaltender making his NHL debut for the Edmonton Oilers after being born in the Edmonton area. Now, Stuart Skinner is credited as being an Edmonton born kid, whereas Grant Fear is credited with being born in Spruce Grove. Close enough, but hey, it's the little pennies that count along the way, I guess you could say. So we'll find out what happens here for the Oilers this evening. New narrative is the key word, but we got to see Mr. Stuart Skinner come out and impress. Like I'm sitting here and preaching that you guys need to take it easy on him. That's what I'm saying. But what have I also been saying? I've been saying let's not start Stuart Skinner. We can't afford to throw away a hockey game. So now this is kind of the happy medium. What I'm going to tell you is I am a little bit concerned based on what's happened this season, based on starting a first-time goaltender in the NHL. But to your point, Broski, we would all love to see Stuart Skinner go out there and surprise us this evening. That would be phenomenal out of the rookie goaltender to go out there and get the job done for us this evening and get a big win in the column if he possibly can. As we now sit about 25 minutes to game time, so we'll keep the stream going for another 5 minutes here, and we'll see what happens in terms of Twitter as the lineup is out. Here you go. Here is what it is going to look like this evening, and my goodness, there are some changes on the back end this evening. RNH, McDavid, Puljujarvi, Cahoon, Draisaitl, Yamamoto, Neal, Turris, Kassian, Archibald, Haas, Chiasson, all right-handed shot line. Nurse, Barry, Jones, Larson, Legason, Russell. Completely new third pairing for the Oilers this evening as Stuart Skinner also gets the start for the Oilers. Now Mark Spector has to hit us in the fields. Big night for Edmonton native Stuart Skinner, who gets the start and goal, his NHL debut for the hometown Oilers. No friends or family in the stands, but he's from a big clan, and they'll be stoked, wearing number 50 this evening for your Edmonton Oilers, as they are back in the home orange jerseys. Oh man, the safety pylon jerseys. As let's get this going here, Tim. Don Cutts played 6 games for the Oilers in the 79-80 season. There was actually somebody saying start Don Cutts in the Oilers Twitter sphere this morning. I thought that was some kind of random joke. It appears it is an Oilers-centered joke. Slater Cuckoo out of the lineup. Over to the lineup this evening, perhaps to deal with that situation with kind of the defense there on the first 2 Leafs goals last night, if I'm not mistaken. He kind of had a couple of big issues on a couple of plays last night, if memory serves correct. 1 for sure, I want to say 2. Now, eyes are kind of starting to glaze over at this point of the season, the way things have been going, so we'll see if that remains true going in. So now as we find it, Cody, welcome in. Michael, welcome in. Mike, welcome in. Anishuk, welcome in. And I think that covers everyone on my main screen here. And you know what? Yeah, we're hoping when it comes down to it, to put it lightly, Stuart Skinner is the future of the franchise in net, right? Mike Smith's gone next year. Stuart Skinner assumes 50-50 split with Koskinen and then takes over the starting role moving in to the season after. That would be the way the line of succession goes for the Oilers, as by then Olivier Rodrigue would be ready to go. You'd have a starter backup, and then by the year after, so 3-4 years from now, you have Skinner and Rodrigue split in the crease, 2 hometown goalies, developed goalies, not necessarily from Edmonton, but 2 developed goalies by the Oilers system, and at last the Oilers have goaltending at the NHL level that they bred and born from draft, AHL to NHL, and they are a 1B, 1A pair. That would be fantastic. And Michael, that's the other side too. Konovalov could come in next year. I'm kind of sketching on Konovalov simply because, right, he is a Russian goaltender. He's still rather young, and if he gets that offer to play in the KHL, knowing what the Oilers' goaltending depth looks like, I imagine he may stay there for a couple years more. Who really knows? That's kind of the indefinite timeline, and that is the ultimate wild card because he looks dang good over there in Russia. Don't kid yourself on that. So let's see what else we've got going on here. Do you think Skinner will play well in the season debut? We're hoping that Stuart Skinner will play well tonight in his NHL debut, being only 22 years old. I don't know, Mr. T, where you're getting that he's 31 years old. That's Troy Grosenick. Troy Grosenick is the 31-year-old waiver wire claim. Stuart Skinner is the 22-year-old Oilers prospect drafted way back when in 2018. So we're really hoping for a good performance out of him this evening, my friends. It would be fantastic. So with that, I will leave you with the message I've given you a couple of times already this evening. Please, it's his first NHL game. It's his NHL debut in less than ideal circumstances. Take it easy on Stuart Skinner. Hope the Oilers can figure out the defense, even with Legason and Russell playing on the back end this evening. And let's go Oilers. Let's go write that new narrative. And we'll talk in the intermissions, and then we'll talk post-game because it's a 7 p.m. start. And you better believe I want to recap Stuart Skinner's first NHL game for you this evening. I'm Tyson, this Dolynny TV. Thank you to absolutely everybody who tuned in. Up towards 77 subscribers here, or viewers at the end of the stream. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe right now. I'll be back in the first period intermission, and we'll talk all things Oilers then. I am up on Oda here for now. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have yourself a great first period, and we'll